Ambitious and motivated are words that describe you best. Then you're on the right place. This is Motivational Radio France from Paris with your host, Ronke Akani.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Motivational Radio France, and we are beaming live from Paris. And today, I always do, I have a special guest. And her name is Heather Ronke. And she is an inspirational lady because she has done so much as to have established a magazine, a bi-quarterly magazine. And I caught up with her today after how many weeks of chasing her around. And finally, she has agreed to speak to us today. Hello, Heather Ronke.
Yes, good morning.
How are you today?
I'm very fine, and you?
I'm okay. Please tell our listeners who you are and what you've been doing for the past 5-10 years.
Good morning, audience or listeners. My name again is Heather Ronke Akani. I'm glad to be on Motivational Radio. And first of all, let me congratulate the initiator of this idea, Mr. Ronke Akani. Congratulations and more strength to your able.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm happily married to Mr. Akani. I have 3 boys. I live in France. I got to France in 1997, if I'm not mistaken. And it has not been all rosy, but then, for obvious reasons, we have to keep struggling. Fortunately, I met my husband in France. We got married year 2000. And since then, we've been going along and we are happy together. And integrating the French system is not so easy. But then we thank God for his guidance, his protection, and the wisdom and knowledge to go about everything. I met my husband. We had to get married for obvious reasons so that our papers would be in order. And since I got to France, I did some manual works, usually so that before you get settled. And the language for me was not actually a barrier, thank God, because I was coming in from Addis Ababa, and where I was already in the UN system and working with international organizations. So I was already familiar with the French language, and it wasn't so much of a barrier. But that notwithstanding, when I got to France, I thought I had understood French very, very well, and I was I was feeling comfortable that I would be able to communicate. But when I got to Charles de Gaulle, I was surprised that it sounded like I wasn't hearing the same French I was taught in.
It was very different.
Yes, in Ikoyi before I even went to Addis. It was sounding so different from what I learned even in Addis Ababa. So that made me to go again to Alliance Française in France to brushing up. And thank God I was able to break through that. And then I started working small until I got a full-time job at the Nigerian Permanent Delegation to UNESCO. And my boss then was the kind Ambassador Michael Omolewa, who was a fantastic boss to me. He was so nice, he was generous, and we were working together as a family. I was with him for 10 years, during which I got my master's in diplomatic studies and strategic planning. In that office too, I was able to represent the office in important conferences within France and outside France, and even up to New York. I was in New York, secondment to UNICEF, and that gave me the opportunity to go with my group to China in 2005 for the high-level group meeting. And all along like that, I've been going around, and in between too, I went to China, I was with UNICEF, I was in Addis Ababa, and in between we come to Nigeria. We received a lot of top shot guests from Nigeria, from all over the world, and we host them. Sometimes I accompany them to translate and make them comfortable, give them guides and guide them in all their dealings since they don't really speak French. But on the other hand, integrating the French system again, I would say that it's not easy. And doing that kind of a job and with maintaining the home front, it wasn't so easy, but we still thank God. And I want to advise my fellow women and fellow friends to be steadfast, to be prayerful, and be prayerful, steadfast, and also always trust God for whatever we're doing. Because it's not been easy doing all of these things most times.
Great. Now, that is great. This is a very, very wonderful story you've just told us about how you started and so far. So how did you get into magazine? How did you make that mental leap from working in at the United Nations and the permanent delegation into magazine? Can you tell us that story?
Yes, it wasn't so difficult for me because since I left school and since I started working in the UN system or in the UN corridor, I have always been writing. So writing, I even do writing in my dream, in my sleep. It wasn't difficult for me at all. But what really triggered the need for Inspiration Magazine was the fact that I haven't lived in France for close to 17 years. I realized that in the Nigerian community especially, we did not have a kind of information material, because most of the events that I attend in my capacity as senior secretary of the delegation, close to sub-short, many of us in the Nigerian community in France, we do not have access to such gatherings. For example, National Day celebration, international conferences, programs and projects on women development, the human capacity building and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, what means, on which platform can we do such, so that people among us in France, Nigerians in France, can know what is happening. People in Marseille will know what is happening in Paris. Nigerians in Paris will know what is happening in Grenoble. Nigerians in Grenoble will know what is happening in Lyon. So that was what triggered the need to establish the magazine. And the second thing that triggered that was also that when we have visitors coming from Nigeria to France, of course they go straight to the Nigerian embassy, and most times they do not have material they could lay their hand on and say, okay, I want to get some information about Nigerians here, where I can eat good food, where I can get Nigerian barber, where I can salon, I can just walk to make my hair, or somebody that can help me to go to Eiffel Tower, to some places. So those are the things that triggered it. And then, of course, the magazine was not limited to only the Nigerian community. As you know, the magazine is French and English. We made it French and English, and it was supposed to be a quarterly magazine. Mm-hmm. It was launched at UNESCO with Basharon Dele Momodo as our chief launcher. Basharon Momodo is somebody that believed in inspiration. He himself is the source of inspiration, because he keeps motivating us young people to come up with somebody that is already up there, and always want to bring up the young ones. So he supported it greatly, and even up to now he keeps asking, Heather, how far with your magazine? I've not heard about it lately. It is true that we are not often in production, because you know what it is in the Nigerian community. Everybody is working, everybody is running after money, and then they want to feature in the magazine, but they don't want to pay. Most of them tell the story, they want to pay 3-4 times, which is not possible for us. And the quality of the magazine is very high, and which we want to maintain, but it's not easy for us to keep running the magazine on debt. You know, in as much as we want it to be in circulation, we don't want to be running it on debt. So we're supposed to be 3 months magazine, but now we're making that maybe 6 months, so that we can gather as much material as possible, and then we can put it in and then publish it at once.
That's great. It's very wonderful what you're telling us, the story you're telling us. So it's been very, not very easy maintaining the circulation of the magazine, because of the fact that a lot of people do not want to pay, and, but they want to come in, they want to be featured, but they don't want to pay.
Yeah, it's not even that they don't want to pay. They want to pay at their time, which does not fit with us, because when we go to printer, the printer wants it cash down, mm-hmm. You know, and if we cannot tell printer that, okay, Mr. Longi has promised to feature his motivational radio, but he's giving me 100 euro out of 1,000 euro, and then that the printer will not listen to such stories. It's true. So we're trying to also go out of France. As I'm in Nigeria now, I want to also look at advert publicities, and some columns in Nigeria, so that we can also pay, and then we can just blend the two together, mm-hmm. and make sure that we're able to keep afloat. Yes. Okay,
very good. Anyway, so use this opportunity to introduce your magazine, just in case anybody wants to get it, or is it possible online? Is it how can we get it? So introduce the magazine to us and tell us exactly where we can get it.
Okay, the magazine is we're looking at publishing in another edition in September, October, after the centenary celebrations, mm-hmm. and then you can go to www.verticalinspirations.org. You have our contact there if you have articles to send, if you have publicities to make, if you have an advert to do, or if you are even interested in joining our team to do editorial, because it's in English and French, so we need a lot of hands. You need to do text editing in French, text editing in English, photographing, photo editing, and all sorts of this. So it's not something like one person or two can only work on. So please come on board as an editorial assistant, come on board as a photographer, come on board as our editor, you know, for many things that we can do together on this magazine. and also it's French and English, so it can always circulate even within outside the Nigerian community. So it's not limited only to the Nigerian community. All the francophones are welcome, and also the anglophone countries with communities within France.
Okay, that's great. It's very, very inspiring what you're telling us, because of the fact that you have, as a woman, as a mother, as a lady, you have done, in spite of all the difficulties, you still keep pushing, and that's very, very good. How would you, if any young lady listening to us today, what would you need to tell her to do in order to try to become like Ronke?
Well, I wouldn't say, well, some people might see me as their role model, but what is important is what we have inside ourselves. If I can manage being a magazine chief editor, if I can manage to be a country director for an international NGO with consultative status with the United Nations, that is the African Business Roundtable, and also Secretary General of Nigerians in Diaspora Organization and private matters, I think it is the strength of God and of course the family support. Because if my husband is not supporting all of this, then there's no how I will make a breakthrough. We'll have been frustrated, we'll have been scattered, we'll have been, become enemies. Mm-hmm. So what is important for us is to be focused. We set our agenda, we focus on it, regardless of side attractions. Let us keep our head above, and then always agree with your spouses. Either you're a man, agree with your wife. Don't say because I am a man and it must be my way. Even it must be your way, but you have a way of going about it. Mm-hmm. So a young lady coming up, I would tell the young lady to be prayerful, to be steadfast, to have an objective, and be focused.
This is wonderful. This is priceless, what you just told us now, because Motivational Radio France is always there to help people. We advise people, we motivate them, we empower them, we mentor them. We advise them really on how the steps to go to get results in life, because all of us are judged by results.
Exactly.
Yes, we're all judged by the results we produce. And so you have, I believe you have produced a good result, and that's why I've been chasing you around to get your interview. And thank you very much for doing that today, because it's very, very interesting. When I see people who have made it against all odds. I remember knowing you far back, and I have watched you move, how you have moved from when I knew you till this moment. And that's why I've been chasing you to get your voice, and I'm very happy to have done that today. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Do you have any other word to say? Do you have any other thing to say before we finish?
Let's keep in touch. Let's be prayerful. Let's be focused. Let's just set our agenda. And I want to invite the Nigerian community in my capacity as Secretary General of Nigerians in Diaspora Organization to let us work together. Let us be united. Let us advise each other. Let us support each other. We see how other communities are doing. We see how other Pakistani communities, Chinese communities, how they are moving mountains. So don't let us remain in our little corners. We are all professionals in our little corners. Even the cleaners among us are professionals in their cleaning environment. Me, I may not know some produce to clean the toilet properly, but if you know it, then that means you are a professional in that area. So please let us share ideas. Let us share our knowledge. Let us transfer knowledge. Let us each other's.
Agree with you, because I know that no man is an island. What you know, you might not know the other thing, so you need to share knowledge. And I believe that's why, in fact, but I still believe all of us, if we walk in our own strength where we are good at, and then come together to join forces, I think we can move mountains. I have always believed sharing efforts. I know that's very, very nice for everybody.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, Ronke. You have finally made it. To have Lonje Akani speak at any of your organization's activities, churches, schools, companies, or any other platform, please call 081-0476-1930 or +33 6 0920 1972. Alternatively, or log on to www.agonlonge.com. Thank you.